Hello and welcome to 60 Seconds with Sergio. I am your host, Sergio Cabanas, attorney at law here in Florida. Thank you for joining me today. Today's question is, Sergio, please explain to me exactly how the courts figure out which of the parents ends up with custody or timesharing of the minor children. Well, this question comes up a lot, and I mean a lot. And I suspect it's because usually it's one spouse threatening the other to expose some deep, dark secret that would force the other spouse to lose custody of the kids forever. The truth is that it's very difficult to take kids away from one of the parents. The courts recognize that many sociological and psychological tests have been done with children and families, and each study concludes that the more both parents are involved in the raising of the child, the more likely that child will end up being stable, happy, and well-adjusted, productive member of society. That's why the courts uphold the general principle that both spouses are entitled to equal time sharing or close to equal time sharing as much as possible. And even then, even if one spouse is able to limit or restrict the other spouse's ability to have time sharing with the children, still the courts give the keys to the door for the spouse that is being restricted on time sharing. That means that the court will lay out conditions for that spouse to be able to recover their time sharing as soon as possible. For example, let's suppose one of the spouses is able to prove that the other one's right to time sharing should be limited because that spouse has a drug abuse problem. Well, the courts will maybe acknowledge that if it can be proven, and even restrict that spouse's ability to have time sharing with the children. However, the court will also lay out conditions for that spouse to be able to undergo, for example, drug rehabilitation or therapy and regular drug testing until certain conditions that can be met for that right to time sharing to be restored. So the takeaway message here is that it's very difficult for one of the spouses to always end up with 100% of the time sharing or 100% of the custody, if you will, of the children. Well, I hope this short video provided you with at least some guidance over a very difficult and complicated area of the law. Of course, this is no substitute for an actual consultation with an attorney who can review the specific facts of your case. Thank you again for joining me today. And as always, stay informed so you can stay strong.